have you heard that noise in your head or outside of your head? Have you been distracted by criticism? Have you seen some shiny object and you got off track and out of focus?
So there is a quote that I have chosen for today. That's Jackie Joyner Kersey. And she says, if I stop to kick every barking dog, I'm not going to get where I'm going. Ooh.
Boy, distractions. Isn't that true? And from such a well-known athlete who has really accomplished a lot, we would like to get where we're going, wouldn't we? Well, welcome everyone to Lipstick Leadership. This episode is about staying focused and quieting the criticism that we sometimes hear. And I'm Debbie Lundberg, founder and CEO of Presenting Powerfully, with my wonderful co-host.
I'm Meridith Alexander, CEO of Grit Mindset Academy. And welcome to this episode where we are empowering women through, and men, if you're listening, but we're empowering you all through communication, resilience, and grit. Woohoo!
Woohoo! As we land on grit, it's so intentional that we put that as the last word. And when we think about that Jackie Joyner Kersey quotation, how do we get where we're going? It takes a lot of grit. And I will tell you that in particular, recently, there have been a lot of people very critical of anything you can think of, the scientists, the government, their friends, their company, their business, and aren't those the barking dogs? And so when we hear that type of criticism, I really encourage people to think about, is this something for me or about me or both? Now, if it's for us, then that serves us. We can take that criticism and turn it around to what we can do with it. If it's just about us, some people don't like to hear this, but people have the right to not love everything we do. Wouldn't you agree, Meredith?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. I think that there's so many different levels of criticism, and some of that criticism can actually be within our inner narrative. And if we allow ourselves to go down that rabbit hole, and if we stop for that barking dog, right? If we stop for that barking dog and don't exert really the self-discipline, and sometimes it's going to feel really unfamiliar if we've allowed ourselves to become very conditioned to believe that that's kind of our default and we don't have control, or if we have been conditioned to believe that that's being realistic, is to explore that. Our focus goes there, and what we focus upon expands, right? And so rather than clearly remember our big picture goal where we're going, we've all of a sudden slowed ourselves down with a really unnecessary distraction.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked, and I know we're going to talk more on our show about this at later times, but let's just introduce it here, how I like to remind people about that let trust grow. And to your point of our inner talk and our inner expectation, that LET, we want to have the linear. So we want to think about that barking dog. Is there any logic to what's distracting us? If it's just a shiny object or simple words or people making noise, then there's no logic. So we want to have the linear part. We also want to have the empathy, and that's the emotional side. And we can say, wow, does that hurt? And does it hurt because it's true? Does it hurt because it's not true? Does it really resonate because there's some emotional attachment? And then that T of transparency. And it's really good for us to know that it's okay if this stuff, as I say, this noise hurts us or bothers us. It's what we do with it, though. And so if we do that, is it linear? Can I empathize with it? Is there some transparency to how I'm feeling and thinking? Then we can quiet that barking dog and get back, like you say so beautifully, about our big picture goals. And you talk about moving those boulders out of our way. And sometimes we can let these little barks become a boulder.
Right. I so agree with that. And I so find that uh, either in my own life or when I'm working with clients, that it really, really, really is important that we have that clarity, and we keep that clarity of the what's behind this, and where I'm headed, and what the motivation is to head there. Because clarity is our power, I really believe. And that I also believe the T and that LET, and I love that acronym. I love that, because I think also transformation is so important. Everything of massive value in life continues to flow. That's how life creates an essence. And also, it's not uncommon for things that are out in nature to need some sort of disruption. So for example, for a forest, it needs those forest fires to really replenish the soil for the new seedlings to keep the forests healthy. And we're living organisms, we're living beings as well. And to assume that every disruption is going to be something that we immediately need to address, I think is unnecessarily distracting. And to your point, it doesn't take advantage of the potential of having trust. So I love what you have to say.
Thank you. And you too, when we bring this all together for our listeners, and as we share with clients together or separately, as a quick recap, it's about really hearing something for what it is. So perspective, and then the clarity that you mentioned so well, and remembering not everything's necessarily negative, that's a disruption or a change. And when we do that, we can keep our focus on our big picture. And we wrapped it all into that clarity with the linear empathy and transparency, so that we can all be transformational, as you said. So hopefully everybody got some good tips and some purposeful thought about what is noise and is something distracting us. And if we feel as though that is, how much energy are we going to give it? So remember to stay in touch with us. I'm Debbie Lundberg, and I'm available at Presenting Powerfully by Debbie Lundberg, and my name on most social media.
And I'm Meridith Alexander. Connect with me on gritmindsetacademy.com. And of course, would love to connect with you on LinkedIn or Facebook, one of the social media platforms. And we're so thrilled to have you here today. And if you enjoyed some of these tips and would like to hear more, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. And hey, go ahead and share it with some of your colleagues or friends. We'd love to see that as well. So
we would. Well, so we are Lipstick Leadership, and we are empowering women and men to greatness through communication, resilience, and grit. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.